We've all been there, refreshing their profile for the 100th time, waiting for some magical moment when they finally give us closure. But here's the hard truth: closure isn't something they give you. It's something you give yourself. Think about it. Have you ever actually felt better after hearing the answer from someone who hurt you? We tell ourselves that one perfect conversation will heal everything, but expecting that is like asking someone who couldn't meet your needs in a relationship to somehow perfectly meet your needs in ending it. Real closure. It happens when you accept the outcome with peace, whether or not the other person participates. It's about writing the final chapter yourself. Instead of leaving the book perpetually unfinished, we waste so much energy waiting for permission to move on from someone who's already gone. It's like standing at a train station long after your train has left, staring at the empty track. Today, we're going to explore practical ways to give yourself the closure you deserve. You don't need their permission to heal. You never did. Chapter 1: Emotional Intelligence in Endings. Ever notice how breakups feel physically painful? That's not a metaphor. Your brain processes emotional pain in the same areas as physical pain. That's why we literally feel our hearts break. Step 1 to processing these emotions is simple: name them. We often lump everything under sad or angry, but there's a full emotional palette here: disappointment, rejection, embarrassment, relief, confusion. When you name an emotion, you create space between yourself and it. You're no longer just being swept away, you're observing. Think of it like this: being underwater versus floating on the surface. Both involve water, but only one lets you breathe. We either suppress emotions or let them consume us. Neither works. Processing means acknowledging the emotion, understanding its message, and letting it move through you, without setting up permanent residence. Start with a practice called emotional mapping. Close your eyes and scan your body. Where do you feel the emotions connected to this relationship? Chest, stomach, throat. Now place your hand there and simply say, "This is grief. This is disappointment. This is where I feel it." What we resist persists. What we feel, we can heal. Chapter 2: The Physical Release of Emotional Pain. Emotional pain isn't just in your mind, it's in your body. Shoulders tense up at certain thoughts. Jaw clenches at certain memories. Healing needs to be physical, not just mental. One powerful ritual: the letting go box. A way to physically release what's stuck inside. Find a box. Gather the physical reminders of the relationship: concert tickets, gifts, photos, even that T-shirt you've been sleeping in. Now, here's where most people go wrong. They either keep everything like a shrine, or they stage a dramatic burn in some revenge fantasy. Neither gives real closure. Instead, try this: hold each item, acknowledge the memory and emotion attached to it, thank it for the role it played, then place it in the box. You're not erasing history. You're just moving it from your daily life into a contained space. Your environment shapes your thoughts. Want new thoughts? Make a new environment. Rearrange furniture, change your screensaver, take a different route to work. These aren't shallow distractions. They're physical pattern interrupts that give your brain space to form new neural pathways. Your body and surroundings aren't separate from healing. They're tools for it. Chapter 3: Creating Meaningful Rituals. Humans need rituals to mark transitions. Graduations, weddings, funerals, they all signal an ending or beginning. But we expect ourselves to navigate the end of relationships without any formal acknowledgement. That's like expecting a book to feel complete without the final chapter. Creating your own closure ritual isn't woo-woo. It's neuroscience. Your brain craves symbolic experiences to process emotional shifts. Here are 3 simple, powerful rituals you can adapt. Threshold ritual: find a physical threshold, a doorway, a bridge, even a line in the sand. Stand on one side and speak out loud what you're leaving behind. Step across while stating what you're moving toward. Elemental rituals: write what you're releasing on paper and safely burn it, or speak your feelings into running water. Symbolism creates strong neural connections. Empty chair technique: place a chair across from you and imagine the person sitting there. Say everything you never got to say, not with anger, but with honesty. Then switch chairs and respond with what you need to hear, not necessarily what they would say. We wait for perfect movie scene conversations that rarely happen. This gives you that experience internally, where real closure actually occurs. The most powerful rituals feel personally meaningful. There's no right way, only what resonates with you. Chapter 4: Practicing Radical Self-Compassion After a Breakup. Most of us become our own worst critics. We replay conversations with perfect hindsight, torture ourselves with if-onlys, and treat ourselves with a harshness we'd never inflict on a friend. It's almost funny, analyzing texts like FBI agents hunting clues. But all this self-criticism doesn't heal us. It doesn't teach us. It just keeps the wound open. All this self-criticism just keeps us stuck in cycles of shame and regret. The antidote: radical self-compassion. And before you roll your eyes thinking this is about bubble baths and chocolate, it's not. Self-compassion is the psychological strength to face hard truths about yourself without collapsing into shame. Try this. Think of something you regret from the relationship. Now imagine your closest friend came to you with the exact same situation. What would you say to them? I guarantee it wouldn't be the harsh criticism you're giving yourself. This isn't about letting yourself off the hook. It's about creating an internal environment where growth is possible. Plants don't grow when constantly uprooted to check progress, and neither do people. Here's a quick practice whenever self-criticism pops up. Place a hand on your heart, take a breath, and say, "This is a moment of suffering. Suffering is part of being human. May I be kind to myself in this moment." The relationship may have ended, but your relationship with yourself continues. Make it a good one. Chapter 5: The Art of Real Forgiveness. Forgiveness, possibly the most misunderstood part of closure. Many think it means excusing bad behavior, pretending it didn't hurt, or reconciling with someone who harmed you. None of that is true. Real forgiveness is about emotional freedom. Your freedom. They get to live their life while you carry their baggage. That's not fair. Forgiveness isn't a single decision. You don't just say, "I forgive," and magically feel lighter. It's a practice. Releasing your grip on hurt over and over until your hands learn a new position. Try the forgiveness letter technique. Write 3 letters. Send none at first, everything you're angry about. The sadness and hurt under that anger. From a place of release. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. And don't forget self-forgiveness. We're often harder on ourselves than anyone else. Remember, you made the best decisions you could with the awareness, information, and resources you had at the time. Getting mad at your past self now is like being angry at the weather from last year. Impossible and unnecessary. True closure isn't erasing memory. It's finding peace alongside the memories. Chapter 6: Navigating Your Social Landscape. One of the toughest parts of moving on is managing your social world. After a breakup, suddenly your Instagram feed feels like a minefield. Mutual friends get complicated. Even certain locations carry heavy memories. You need what I call a social closure strategy. 3 key elements: boundaries, support, and gradual re-engagement. 1. Boundaries. It's perfectly reasonable to temporarily unfollow someone on social media. No drama. No blocking needed. You're not being petty. You're giving your nervous system the space it needs to regulate without constant triggers. 2. Support. Be explicit about what you need. Tell friends, "I need distraction today, not discussion about what went wrong." Or, "I need to process, not problem solve." A designated closure buddy can be incredibly powerful. Someone who witnesses your process without judgment and keeps you accountable to healing rather than old habits. 3. Gradual re-engagement. You don't have to handle every social situation perfectly right away. Declining events where they'll be present, totally fine. Leaving early, fine. Bringing a support person, fine. Your social world will recalibrate. New connections will form. Rushing this process only creates more pain. Move at a pace that feels healing, not harmful. Chapter 7: Rewriting Your Personal Narrative. Every relationship becomes a story we tell ourselves about ourselves. When it ends, that story often gets distorted. I'm unlovable. I always choose wrong. Relationships never work for me. Step 1: Notice the story you're currently telling. What's the one-sentence summary you've created about this relationship? I wasted years on someone who didn't value me. Or, I failed at making this work. Now ask, is this the only possible interpretation? Is it even accurate? What if the same events could tell a story of courage, growth, or learning? Try the 2000 summary exercise. a simple way to condense your experience into a short, truthful statement that leaves room for empowerment rather than self-blame. Distill what you learned from the relationship into just a few sentences, as if you only had limited words. This forces you to focus on the essential meaning, not every painful detail. Creating a wisdom-gained document can be transformative. List everything you learned without attaching blame or playing the victim. You're not minimizing the harm, you're extracting value from the experience. That is the essence of wisdom. When you shift from "what happened to me" to "what happened for me," everything changes. It's the difference between being defined by your past and being developed by it. Chapter 8. Future Visioning with Purpose. Finding closure isn't just about processing the past. It's about creating space for a meaningful future. Many of us get stuck because we haven't envisioned what comes next. Think about all the energy, emotional, mental, physical, that went into that relationship. Where will you redirect it? A personal closure timeline with clear milestones gives your healing structure. For example, 1 month. Start that pottery class you've been curious about. 3 months, a weekend trip with friends. 6 months, revisit your 5-year vision. These aren't arbitrary deadlines for getting over it. They're intentional markers that measure movement instead of stagnation. Writing letters to your future self can be extraordinarily powerful. From your current state of healing, write to yourself 6 months ahead. What have you learned that you don't want future you to forget? What strengths have you discovered that you want to carry forward? The relationship ending has created space, physical, emotional, temporal. The question becomes, what will you grow in that space? Because nature abhors a vacuum. Without intentional planting, weeds of regret and rumination will take root. Instead, you get to choose what this chapter means in your larger life story. You decide what happens next. That's not just closure, it's reclaiming your authorship. Chapter 9. Integration and continuous growth. True closure isn't a finish line you cross once. It's an ongoing process of integration. The relationship becomes part of your story without defining your entire identity. How do you know integration is happening? Here are the signs. You can go days without thinking about them. The emotional charge of memories lessens. When memories arise, you can acknowledge both the good and difficult parts without being overwhelmed. You feel genuine wishes for them, not because you want them back, but because you've released the emotional grip. It's almost funny. We expect perfect closure overnight when we'd never expect to master any complex skill that quickly. We give ourselves more grace learning guitar than learning to heal a broken heart. Try the taking the temperature practice. Check in with yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How present is this past relationship in your thoughts today? How much emotional energy is it consuming? Relationship patterns only repeat when we haven't extracted their lessons. Once truly learned, you are free to create new patterns. Closure isn't just ending one chapter, it's writing a better next one. The ultimate sign of closure isn't forgetting what happened. It's being able to hold the experience as part of your life's rich tapestry, without it restricting your capacity for joy, trust, or new connections. That's not just how you find closure. That's how you find yourself. Perhaps an even wiser, more compassionate version than before. And that, truly, is the greatest gift endings can bring when approached with presence and purpose.